First at 5, a need for nurses. The governor's office taking steps to help local hospitals overwhelmed with sick children.
Governor Steve Sisolak meeting with the Nevada Hospital Association to put Nevada nursing licenses on the fast track to approval. We first told you about the need last week. As you may know, cases of RSV in Nevada have surged over the last month. The Southern Nevada Health District reported last week about 1,800 cases of RSV had been reported in November. That is a 200% increase over the same time last year.
And Fox 5's Alexis Hernandez joins us in studio to explain what's next in this process.
Well, John and Kim, as a result of the influx of pediatric patients, the Board of Nursing and Nevada Hospital Association will implement a new process in order to ensure staffing needs are met. The governor's office says this will likely primarily cover out-of-state nurses. Any nurse a facility deems necessary to assist with a current pediatric crisis will have their application processed immediately by the Nevada State Board of Nursing. That's according to the governor's office. A temporary license will be issued to those applicants who meet the legal requirements of the law. This will allow for nurses to begin caring for patients quickly. And as we've been reporting over the past 2 months, RSV cases in particular have filled pediatric hospital beds, and some pediatric hospitals have had to move older children into adult beds.